Maayong udto ug maayong pagpaniudto gikan sa University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines. This is your Lunchican in charge. My name is Eric and you're watching LunChat. Greetings to all trailblazers across the USTP system. Join me today for a chat as we unfold different activities and initiatives in the university's 7-point agenda dynamic. Mga ka-LunChat, today will be a very exciting episode, especially to our young innovators as we talk about spatial intelligence. Mga ka-LunChat, we are joined by Dr. Adolph, Vincent, Vigor, and Dr. Sarah Namoco, the researchers of the study, development, implementation, and assessment of the web-based module to enhance the spatial intelligence of architecture student. Doc S and Doc Vigor, maayong udto po.
Maayong udto,
Maayong udto, sir.
good noon.
Yes, good nun. Doc, before we start no sa atong chikahan, kanang very curious lang pod ko, especially pod siguro pod atong mga ka-LunChat, no. How did education meet architecture? Kay we know no as the advisor you are from the education department and Doc Vigor is from the architecture. So how did this collaboration happen?
Yeah, since at the start of the concept of Dr. Vigor's study, I told him to find an advisor somewhere here in Mindanao, and kung walay makita diri sa Mindanao, then go to Luzon. And then
Actually, I tried to find an advisor, which is also an architect for my topic. But seemingly there's only a few architects in the academy. So it was really hard. That's why I asked for the help of Dr. Namoco because I think she's very competent in the field of research.
yeah, and that's when I asked for my friends in the University of Sciences Malaysia, where I finished my PhD.
Nice.
And then I talked with Dr. Pete. Dr. Pete is an architect. He finished his PhD in Japan, and he is with architecture and spatial intelligence. So we collaborated. He guided Dr. Adolph in the spatial intelligence aspect, and I guided Dr. Adolph with the education aspect of his study.
Okay. That's very good to hear. Daghanay kaayo mga consultations na hitabo aning research.
Yes.
That's why very amazing kaayo atong prototype nga naakaron. Speaking of prototype, ma'am, can you answer no? Can you tell us more about this prototype? What it does, unsay mga components nga ani, and unsay gina-show sa atong prototype?
Okay. So actually, sir, I think what you saw is just a part of the web-based interactive module. So what we developed is a module that's composed of around 9 weeks or half a semester. So basically, it's an interactive web-based module where the students, instead of just looking at static pictures when they are taught design, they could actually look at moving 3D objects of staircases, from staircases to residential buildings. Then they could actually manipulate them, take measurements, and look at examples on how a house should be designed.
Nice.
But it's only the beginning. I think the underlying problem is that when you enter architecture school, often you don't have an idea of what you are designing, what you are doing. So with this module, we stimulate a part of the student's brain to think in 3 dimensions, not just 2. Because 3-dimensional thinking is really important in architecture. Without 3-dimensional thinking, it would be hard to design structures.
Right. Tinood. It's very good to hear po.
Yeah,
Yes, Doc.
observe na ako na sa akong mga masteral student advices nga who are into drafting technology. Ang pinaka problema gyud sa atong mga estudyante is how to think from 2D to 3D and from 3D to 2D. So I believe the project of Dr. Adolph will be very helpful sa atong mga estudyante to think clearly from 2D to 3D, right?
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
Right. Sir, kanang very tsada kay ni siya nga innovation no na you think of kay when I think of architecture, akong gano'n lang, kaya 2D drawing, like very drawing lang yun, di ba? Pero karon, we are trying to incorporate technology and 3D sa ilang learning. So that's also giving them parang an idea of how it will look like if it were in real life, di ba? Kaya that's how we perceive 3D, man. It's really lifelike, kumbaga. Thank you very much once again. And for now po, Docs, nalatay short lang kayo nga break. Nalatay short gimmick just to break the ice and, keep things light lang gihapon. So karon, we will have our game called Fast Food Talk. Alright.
Sige.
Sige, so Docs, ready na? Okay, sige, Doc. Chewy Choco or Cloud9?
Cloud9.
Cloud9.
Cloud9. Frutos or Mentos?
Mentos.
Frutos.
M&M's or Nips?
M&M's.
Nips.
Very local yun, sir. Ha? Max or Halls?
Max.
Max. White Rabbit or Dynamite?
White rabbit.
White rabbit.
Yema or Pulveron?
Yema.
Yema.
Yema. Pero good na yung mga few kan nga gakasinabot mo, Lux. No? So at least you know now what to get each other pag kuha mo candy.
We speak the same language and we eat similar foods.
Actually, Bitaw. Before we proceed, just a little trivia about our fast food talk. If you noticed, all of it are all candies.
Yes.
And for many, Halloween festivities center around candy. If you're wondering why you hand out candy on Halloween, the original treats on Halloween were homemade, like donuts and popcorn balls. Then, when the United States was engaged in World War II, sugar became rationed, which caused trick or treat altogether to take a hiatus. After the war, candy companies soon realized that housewives would much rather pass out pre-packaged treats than spend all day in their kitchens cooking. So candy soon became very popular for trick and treats. Yes, just a little
History.
trivia. Yes, history. In time pod for Halloween na to, no? It's
Yeah.
November. Bitaw. So, Doc, going back sa tong chikahan, no? Spatial intelligence is something na we don't hear often, especially dire sa atong institution, no? And can you give a brief explanation lang why this is important, especially for architecture students and atong researchers po? Researchers.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, spatial intelligence is really important in the field of architecture and STEM disciplines also. And then, but despite its importance, a lot of authors say that there's not much interventions or research done in that field. So that's why I conducted this research to fill in that gap.
Okay.
Because spatial intelligence is one of, I think it's under the multiple intelligence theory of Howard Gardner. So it's one of the intelligence types that's really important for STEM fields. And in architecture, it has really significant impact because if you have low levels, if you have students with low levels of spatial intelligence, then it would really affect not only their performance during the academics but also when they become architects.
Right.
So that's why we developed this intervention to help them. Because I noticed that actually I took my high school years here back in 1998 and then my BS degree in 2002. Then I noticed that there's a lot of students who are really good in their studies when they are in high school.
Right.
But when they enter architecture school, they have a hard time. They get discouraged.
Right.
So I was really curious about that. And then when I took up my DTE under Dr. Sarah Namoco with our research subject, I was really thinking of a way to help those students. Maybe if we give this type of intervention, it would really help them.
Right.
And the results, when we subjected it in ANCOVA, analysis of covariance, we found that there's really a significant difference.
Right.
And literature also suggests that it's also an equalizer for gender. Because it helps females cope up with the original advantage of males. So I just say that because literature says that also.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Equal footing. Equal footing ang learning opportunity for both our male and female learners with this module that you developed.
I can also see how this is beneficial po no for architecture students since very visual lagi ang architecture, very in need, especially karon na the generation right now is very dependent on visual learning, very experiential pug kaayo say dude murag ako I grew up in a generation where the digital world murag is slowly og build up na. So technology is really trying to kanang go up the stairs na bitaw gyud. So right now with this technology I know nga this will be a nice intervention, especially for those visual learners who really want to enhance po their creativity as well, because that's really, I believe, the focus po no of of enhancing the spatial intelligence of our students. This is very interesting for me. Kay lagi ako, I work in a creative field pod as a graphic artist. So seeing this, very amazing. Gid siya nga prototype. I can see how far we'll go with this type of technology. And speaking of how far we'll go po, Docs, the question right now is ang sustainability part ani atong projects. No, how do you see this project years from now po? Do you have developments in mind ba na gaka-think of few years from now, and in what ways can we prolong its longevity?
Okay, so of course this is started with in the field of architecture,
right.
but I think the whole concept of developing interactive module will not be only effective and useful in the field of architecture, but I think in all other fields of specialization. Especially that we are now in the new normal and our students are in the Gen Z and Alpha Gen, where they are more into videos, they learn more when they when they see things, and some more nga ang module is interactive, so dili lang ang estudyante makakita, but they also perform with the module that they are learning with. So I think the sustainability of this project, no, I mean not the content, because the content is specific with architecture, but the concept of developing web-based interactive module can be applied to other fields also. So I would encourage other educators to please consider this in your instructional materials. When you develop instructional materials, it will be very helpful for our students kay dili lang sila makakita, but they can also manipulate things as they learn, as they progress with their learning experience.
Right. Thank you so much for Doc S. How about you po? Doc
In the
Vigor?
field of architecture, sir, I think we started with Design 2. Design 2 deals with structures that are not yet complicated. So what we can see right now in the module, we have a 3D of a stairs, a 2-story house, and the biggest would be a mansion.
Nice.
In the near future, since architecture has 10 design subjects in a course of 5 years, when you go, the higher you go, the more complicated the structure is.
Right.
So I'm thinking maybe in the direction in the future, we could add content on more complicated structures such as malls, hospitals, theaters, where the students could actually view all of them in 3D.
Tama.
And they could also take measurements. Then, aside from just showing them holograms to incite their interest, I think my vision for the architecture department is someday we could use augmented reality or virtual reality in learning. So imagine if we teach our students about construction,
Right.
and we eliminate the factor of which makes it dangerous to go to the
Right.
site.
Oo,
Kasi it's
tama.
dangerous to go to the site.
Exactly.
Baka may mahulog na hollow block sa ulo or matinik ka.
Oo.
So if you integrate virtual reality, you could view the construction process from beginning to end.
Right.
True.
So it
That's
would
right,
really improve their learning. So I hope in the future we could really develop that. I'm currently the chairman of the architecture department, and I think for the next 2 years I'll still be the chairman, but I will really help the department in the development of spatial intelligence, because I think that's something that's not well researched here in the Philippines.
Right.
In
Exactly.
fact, naglisod kag pangita og advisor,
Yes,
right?
so.
Kang iyang identify nga advisor is someone who is in urban
Urban planning.
planning.
architecture, pero ang specialization is urban planning. So mo tong we settled for looking sa iyang advisor outside the
outside the
Philippines.
Philippines. Indeed, no, we are a trailblazer good for innovations. Kaya this is
Yes.
sa process lang gyud sa papangitag advisor for this research. It was very hard good. Grabe
Yeah,
ang selection
challenging.
process. Challenging good kayo siya. Pero I'm very happy, Docs, nga nauna-hunaan ninyo yung research, no? This is a very good alternative as you said earlier. Kaya kung nauna-hunaan ganina, lagi po ang safety good sa mga students ang i-prioritize. So it's a very good alternative nga makita nila gikan pa lang sa pag-structure, paingon na sa pagkabuo na gid siya mismo in virtual, like in 3D kay ako when I first started out, when I first started college, ay daya pa magud nag sikat ang augmented reality no nga VR sa mata and everything. So this is a good innovation to incorporate on our learning kay lagi the students are very visual magud nowadays, mga laking cocomelon na magud tagtanan. So kana siya. So Docs, thank you so much for
Welcome.
kanang coming sa atong LunChat show. And
Salamat po for having us.
Yes.
And my excellent, my very good student.
yes,
Sa
both
ating-
excellence, Doc. And by the way, before we end, we would like to congratulate Doc S for being one of the researchers kinapil sa AD Scientific Index. Congratulations, Doc. Yes, and before we finally end, Docs, no, anything you want to say sa atong viewers? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I would like to invite those who want to take Doctor of Technology Education. Our program here in the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines is a delivering institution for scholarships, especially in SICAP, which Dr. Adolph here is a recipient. And please come join us in the program. You will have wonderful and brilliant advisors, not just from the Philippines, but also from abroad. Just like Dr. Dr. Vigor is having here. Naduhang yung advisor, ako and someone from Malaysia. And then, I would like also to invite you to my YouTube account where you will learn about research. No, daghan kong videos dito about research. Please follow me, subscribe, Sarah Namoco EDD, and you will see me, Dr. S, there. My flagship is Let's Do Research with Dr. S.
Wow, grabe YouTuber good kay si Doc.
Okay.
How about you, Doc Vigor?
I guess I just invite you guys if you're interested to study architecture, you could enroll. Though we have a lot of students right now, but we're really doing our best. And then you could find me in YouTube. You just have to search my name.
Wow, YouTuber po na si Doc Vigor. Once again po, Docs, thank you very much for being here today and for bringing your prototype for our mga ka-LunChat to see po. No? There you go. Mga ka-LunChat, in the university's 7-point agenda dynamic, spatial intelligence falls under letter M, which is to maintain vibrant research and strengthen extension services and maximize utilization of outputs that will contribute to economic development. Once again, this has been your Lunchican in charge, Eric Dotarot. See you next episode. Dito lang sa LunChat.